Just get the lighting sorted out here. Oh, that's horrible. Okay. So that's not too bad. Anyway, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. Those of you that are about to join. It's just amazing how we come together. I click the button, go live, and people immediately jump in. And you know, it's fantastic to be a part of this community. So I appreciate it. All right, so sorry, I'm just going to mess around with some things. I don't want to too much light there. Yeah, that's better. Hi guys. So let's just talk about a couple of things. Firstly, one interesting point there is. Thank you, Sergio. And you're one of my blog readers. I know that, Sergio. Robin. So. There is a hearing this afternoon. It's to hear the Kennedy suit, which is the Curtis Morrison 3.0 suit. No real predictions on that, although I think the judge is going to see that as early and somewhat duplicative of the existing lawsuit. So I won't be at all surprised if he sort of puts us off a little bit on that lawsuit this afternoon. I've created a declaration for that lawsuit, so I've sort of added what I can to that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Gru. So I've added what I can to that particular lawsuit, and hopefully that will help, and we'll see what that achieves. But I think that we're on track quite nicely for the report on Friday and for the decision next week on Monday. Again, as I've said yesterday, as I said before, nothing is certain at this point. It's not certain that we get the extension, but I'm feeling hopeful, and I feel that the case has been very well made for it, and clearly the judge understands the issues. So that's good. Okay, so let's just hello, teacher. So I'm going to take a few questions. So have a think about your question, and let's try and take some of these questions. I should really have these standardized because I know I'm going to get much the same questions as I get each day, but I'm trying to make myself available to you because it's a very stressful time for everybody. I absolutely understand that. So I'm being as patient as I can to answer the questions, even if I've been asked 10 times a day. So okay, let's take some in order then. So Akum, how much guess will the PP will end before December 31st? Will it be ended before then? It won't be ended. No. 0% chance. Anija, thank you. Actually have no questions because I've answered all of them. Excellent, very good, thank you. We're waiting to enter to the USA. Okay, so if you've been given your visa in the last few days since the order, you have an annotation on that visa saying you cannot enter until after the proclamation ends. So that's the way it is. Momo says, will the extension reach everyone? People have been asking me this question. Will it cover this scenario, that scenario? Until we see what the judge orders, we don't know who will be covered, right? Who will cover. We don't even know we're going to get an extension, right? So it's very difficult or impossible for me to actually anticipate who will be helped by any extension. We don't know. So we have to just wait. Any prediction on the election? Yes, Biden will win. I'm 75% confident on that one. We'll see. I mean, Trump couldn't be doing a worse job. So, he literally could not do a worse job. If he was trying to screw up the country deliberately, he couldn't do that job better than he's doing it. I mean, it's just bad on so many levels. When will the instructions for DV 2022 get published? Good question, Jonathan. I think within the next couple of days. I already know the dates and I know what the instructions will be largely. The dates are October 1st to November 3rd. There could be one or two changes on countries included. But that's about all we'll see. And we know that the passport thing is going to work well. Actually, I have an update about that to do. I know the entrance into DV 2021 now. It's quite startling how the numbers drop. So I need to explain what that means to people, or what that meant. And DV 2022 has a very good chance of selection for people that enter. So it really is, it's important to enter. And if you're in Oceania region, frankly, you'll be amazed at the numbers. It's very, very good at the moment. Husam, is it a must for my friend in the USA to notarize the form? No, it says on the I-134, it says this form does not need to be notarized. It's amazing what information you can get just by reading the instructions. Really. H. Homeda, if extension happens, how long for the Congress to pass it to? The Congress will not have to pass any new law to enable the extension. There's no question that they're going to be asked. That's not the point. I explained this yesterday. The existing laws are very, very clear about the visas cannot be continued year to year, but a federal judge has powers to give compensation for something unlawfully taken. And that's exactly what we're trying to argue for. He's already judged that the actions of the government were unlawful. The impact of that has been assessed. It's classified as irreparable harm. So it was unlawful when they decided that they weren't going to issue any more visas or process any more cases because the president blocked the entry. What Judge Mehta said was it's lawful for the president to block entry. We didn't argue that. What he agreed with and what he said was that it was unlawful and caused harm when they said they were no longer going to process applications for DV lottery winners. And that's how we won that part of the case. And so, since there has been harm done by an unlawful action, we simply want some sort of compensation, if you like, for that. And now it remains to be seen what compensation, what extension of time we can get. It may not include all the categories. It may not include all the visas that we need, but it will help some people. And already we've probably got, well over 1,000 people who've already been helped by the order that was granted on the 4th of September. So I'm already happy, but I'm not stopping fighting, and neither are the lawyers. Kizito, is it smart to take the medical exams without the 2NL, given KCC is randomly selecting cases for further processing? Okay, they're not randomly selecting the cases. What they're doing is they're talking to embassies, and embassies are talking to KCC, and the embassies are saying, we've got capacity, we could take some people. So if you talk to your embassy and your embassy knows you're waiting and you're capable of going for interview, and your embassy has the ability to schedule an interview for you, if KCC will send them the paperwork, then there's a reasonable chance that KCC might cooperate. But I have to be honest, we're Wednesday, the end of Wednesday, as far as KCC is concerned, we've got 4 days of processing left. There's very little time. So at the moment, I'm starting to tell people, look, if you haven't got your interview set up yet, then probably your only remaining hope is to wait for an extension. And that's probably the reality. I prefer to give you people honest information rather than blowing wind up your ass, as they say in America. I'm not going to give false hope to anybody. I'm very careful in what I say. I point out when things are not certain. I'm not just if I didn't believe that the extension was possible at all, I would say so. But I think there's a good chance that we get the extension, but it's not 100% sure. Devi, I've received confirmation of documents from KCC. Can I get interviews? So you're a 2021 winner. You'll get an interview eventually, probably, depending on your case number, Devi. DJ, welcome back. Today I resended my documents to KCC for the 3rd time. Is there any problem with that for DV 2020? No, there's no problem with that. I just actually, let me just find this answer I gave someone a few minutes ago, because is kind of an important point that perhaps people are not understanding. I think I've made this point clear time and time again. But there are some things that you can do wrong with the documents that will cause you a problem, and mean that you won't get your documents processed. And I don't think people are thinking about that quite straight. I can't find the response I gave now. Oh, here we go. So I listed out the possible reasons. Oh, where is it? Darn it! I had a nicely written out set of reasons, but let me just repeat them. I think there are some people who are not getting documents received, documents processed because they're doing some things wrong. They might be not referencing their case number correctly on the email or on the documents, right? They may be sending an incomplete set of documents. If you send an incomplete set of documents, you may as well not bother. The cases here have made it very clear that they need a complete package of all the documents in one go. So you need to be very, very careful how you compile these documents. Make sure you've got everything that they ask for. Don't send crap that they don't ask for. Don't send your education documents or your swimming certificate or whatever the hell you want to send. Send only what they ask for, but make sure you send 100% of what they ask for. If you can't send 100% of it, don't send it. Wait until you can. So wrongly referenced documents, that's one thing. Not an incomplete set of documents, that's another. Perhaps the wrong email address. Are you sending it to the correct email address? It's on the letter. It's different to the normal email address, right? And lastly, I think something that's catching some people out is that in the email they say not to send documents greater than 30 megabyte. That's not very big, right? If you've been scanning multiple PDF documents and they're in color, and one individual document could be 5 meg all by itself. So if you're sending a whole family's package, you need to be careful with the size of the document package that you're sending. And also make sure that the attachments to the email are actually going as attachments, not links. If it's a link to a Google document or something, they're not going to click that link. They're not going to get those documents. So even though you might get the response from their server saying we've received your documents or whatever, they may not have received your documents. So you have to be very, very careful. So think about those 4 or 5 things I just mentioned. The confirmation of documents email is automatic, by the way. You could send them a picture of Mickey Mouse, and you're going to get an email back saying we received your documents when you only sent Mickey Mouse. Do you understand? It doesn't matter what you send. It doesn't mean you sent the right stuff. So think about whether you sent the right documents or not. Any news about DV 2021? There's no new news. The visa bulletin is delayed. It's still not out, but it doesn't make any difference because interviews are not going to be held until January. So, why is everyone upset about the visa bulletin? I don't know. It's beyond me. Mohammed says, hi Brit, today called KCC for 2NL, but same reply. Yeah, they're at the end of their processing mindset now. They know that there's not very much time left, and I think they're going to start just telling people they're not going to do anything more. Jean-Pierre, I just explained my thoughts about that. Mohammed, if extensions have been granted, how many visas do you predict they will give away? I don't know, and there's a particular reason why I don't want to discuss the number of visas, etc. It's to do with our legal strategy, so I don't want to go into that. I said that yesterday. Tolga, welcome back. Through the help of a software engineer, we're able to track the issuance of diversity visas since the September, according to Mr. Simon Paul's affidavit. Okay, so Tolga, yes, that's my declaration. I'm who they're talking about. So Akum, I'm always waiting to hear good news from your side. You're a star for us. Nicoletta, hello, BritSimon. Do you know an update regarding the man case? No, I don't. I'd be interested to hear if you got any information about that. Kendora, if I'm married but my passport does not have my marriage name, do I use my maiden name, the same as on my passport? Okay. So there is a time when you go and get married, if you're in a country where you assume your husband's name, for example, or if you decided to do that, and it's not always the case, but if you did change your legal name, at that point, you changed your legal name. That is now your new name. You may not have changed your passport yet, and obviously you won't have changed your birth certificate or other documents yet, but you did change your legal name. So your number one, you should have updated your passport to your new name, right? Because that's now your new legal name. But on the DS260, Nicoletta, oh, sorry, not Nicoletta, I beg your pardon, Kendora. On the DS260, you should list your legal name, and that should really match what's in your passport, but you haven't updated your passport yet, so it won't match, but you should still put your new legal name as shown in your marriage certificate. And then in the DS260, there's a section that talks about previously used names or other names used, and that's where you put your maiden name. But you really do need to get on with that because, when they issue the green card, if you were to leave it in your maiden name, which is technically possible, if you left it in your maiden name, then that's what your green card will be registered as, right? And then you have to go through a difficult process to get that updated at some later date because your green card won't match what your photo ID in America will say, because you'll by that time be using your married name. So, okay, just use a bit of common sense and you figure that one out. Abdallah, I'm in the AP process of DV 2020. Will the CIS give me the result of my AP process as the deadline is coming close? Unless you call them, they're not going to do anything, right? You need to push them. You need to call them. They may be able to process your case still if your AP process itself was completed. And if the AP was for background checks, maybe the background checks are completed, maybe not. If the AP was for a missing document, did you provide that missing document or medical or whatever? But if you haven't provided a new medical, then, and you haven't been speaking to the embassy, then you've probably left it too late. I mean, literally days count here, right? So, this order came out 19 days ago. So you've had 19 days to do what I've been saying to do, which is get a new medical, speak to the embassy, and do all those things. So if you haven't done that, I don't understand why you didn't, but there you go. Lasana, when the KCC will begin to send the 2NL for the group for DV 2020. They've sent who they're going to send, I think. I don't think they're going to send many more, if at all. Shamil, if in your opinion, is there a chance for those whose documents are not approved? I've said since the order, I've said Group 5 have little to no chance, and the window is closing rapidly, so there's almost no chance. The chance is an extension. That's what they need. Glory Mercy says, please, sir, if you will say come for your children at a later date, will KCC ask for the documents? They will ask for documents about your children because they want proof that what you're putting on your DS260 is accurate, right? So when you file your DS260, if you're a parent of children, even if you don't want those kids to go with you straight away, which is a bizarre decision, but maybe that's the decision you've made, you still have to list the children on your DS260. And so they may therefore ask you for proof about those children, right? Because they don't want you just substituting random children on your application at some later point. But I have to say, normally when people say they're going to bring the kids later, it's because they don't understand how complicated that is. Bringing children or derivatives later takes about 2 years. It's a more expensive process. It's called family-based immigration. It's more expensive than DV lottery. It's more complicated. It will require you to have a job and be able to support the derivatives. It's much more complicated. When you go for a DV interview, you get a visa which has 6 months. You can go ahead of the children, and within that 6-month period, you can take the kids. Great, but why would you want to be in America starting a new life without your kids? I mean, I'm not judging, but I'm just saying it's going to make you depressed and sad that you're not seeing your kids. So it makes you less likely to succeed in America. I know it's hard, but You have to get the mindset that, look, it's going to be a tough slog for us to start in a new country. I'll go a month or two ahead, before the family, maybe. But being there without the family for a long time is not a good idea. I did it, by the way. I did do that for 6 months or something. It cost me a divorce. So, and I shouldn't say that. It cost me a divorce because I was an idiot. So there you go. Abdullah, good evening, Brit. I'd like to ask if DV 2021 selectees stand to benefit from the block of the regional Schengen area and UK ban. The block, there's been no blocks of the bans for cases other than DV 2020. So at the moment, DV 2021 selectees would be, in theory, impacted by those Schengen and other regional bans. However, it's very clear to the government now, it should be very clear, that their previous procedures of not issuing visas because of because there's some bar on entry, that's unlawful. It doesn't mean they'll stop. They might continue with those procedures, but we have to wait and see. And if necessary, we'll have to sue them again. That's the way it is. Traveling Spirit. Hello, Traveling Spirit. I saw in your blog someone had commented that he got an interview in November. No, you'll also see, Traveling Spirit, that he later corrected that. He'd said, I think it was the 25th of 11/2020, and later on he corrected that to being 25th of September. It was just a typo. Ellie, is it harder for me to enter the USA now because I applied for DS260? Yes, I tell people all the time, there's no rush to apply for your DS260. If you've got a very high case number, you shouldn't apply for the DS260 early on. There's no advantage at all of rushing your DS260. Once you file your DS260, that declares immigrant intent. It's called immigrant intent, intention to emigrate into America, and therefore can make later non-immigrant visas harder to obtain. If you've got an non-immigrant visa, it's okay. But if for any reason you don't proceed with your DV lottery case and you file the DS260, yes, you've made life a little bit more difficult for later. Doesn't mean it's impossible, just a little bit more difficult. Milos just wanted to say thanks. Thank you. Baylor, hi. Hi. Samir, the man so good he was named twice. Samir. What about DV 2022? It starts on October 1st, Samir. I think that's probably answered that. Opsis, what's the number of visas that the judge is thinking? I'm not going to address the number of visas, other than to say that he started talking, if you heard the hearing, he started talking about it not being reasonable or fair to give all of the visas. He's not going to give 40,000 visas and put them to one side. He's not going to do that. And the reason being that COVID stopped the issuance of visas anyway before all of the orders, and a lot of the work was shut down anyway by COVID, right? So he then suggested a date of June 15th as being the date from which the government could have resumed operations for DV cases. And so I think he's heading towards a calculation of a number of visas that would have been available between June 15th and September 4th. I think that's what he's trying to do. Basil, please, I have a baby, but I'm not married. Will it affect me to apply? When you apply, you must list that baby. If that baby is your baby, whether you intend to take the baby or not, whether you're married or not, you must list that baby. If you don't do that, you will be disqualified later on. Okay? So don't screw it up, Basil. Make sure you do that. That means you need a photo of the baby. And if the mother, if for whatever reason you can't get a photo of the baby, then you can't enter. Simple as that. Because once you start lying to the American government, you're going to be lying to cover your lies, etc. And one day it'll bite you in the ass. It's not a good idea. Zion, hi Simon. My case number is 29XXX in the Asian region, 2021. Because of high case number and per history, Asian number doesn't call after 18,000, so it's hopeless to keep hope. Okay, so a couple of things. So It's not very smart to look at previous years and judge this year's numbers based on previous years, because the numbers are very different year to year. The situation is very different year to year. So that's the first thing. So don't make an unwise judgment based on what you've read on previous years. I provide on my blog all the historical numbers, but I don't expect people to use them to decide that, like you have, that your case number has no chance because of that. Now, what Asia depends on is whether there's still a ban in place on Iran and Yemen. Because between Iran and Yemen, there's thousands of cases that are currently today banned. If Biden wins the election, he'll probably remove the ban, and therefore a lot of those Iranian and Yemeni cases can get through, in which case your high case number is in trouble, right? If he doesn't win, and we've still got Trump, then there could be other complications because Trump's an idiot. But your high case number is more likely to become current. So you've got risk both ways. I'm not saying it's easy, but for Asia in particular, the election is extremely important. I've explained all of that in detail in a video a few weeks ago, so you can go and find it in my list of videos. The embassy in Georgia says Baylor is disappointing. Yes, I'm sorry. Tolga says, I've called KCC and they said they have finished the plaintiff case on Monday and started with the other cases. You agree? Yes, I did notice that they'd started some group 4 cases. Tolga, yes, they did do that. But again, it was very sporadic. It depended on the embassy. Opsis Kolopsis. It's got to be a Greek name, right? That's can't get more Greek than that. For me, KCC said that they have my documents, but they do not process only plaintiffs. Yeah. That's it sounds like you were group 5 anyway. So again, we've known from the beginning that not everyone would be helped. Opsis, I'm sorry. Royan, what is the website for the full form for DV 2022? dvlottery.state.gov is the website. dvlottery.state.gov. I'm typing it in the chat. There you go. I've got to go a bit faster. I'm behind here. Just signing in. Sorry if I'm taking back, but I'm in group 4. Any news for me? Aquin, it's a case-by-case situation. Some group 4s are being scheduled, but not all of them will be. And we're still hoping for the extension. Jebrail, Azerbaijani citizens cannot pass the border. Yes, the lawyers have raised this in particular, but as you may have seen, the judge declined to get involved in that. He has no power to fix any of that. So if an extension happens and you can get around the quarantine, etc., you've got a chance. But other than that, you don't have a chance. Christina, please, I want to join you, but I don't know how to get in touch with you. Oh, that sounds nice, Christina. I am married though. You can ask questions on my blog. You can ask questions on the YouTube channel. You're welcome to do that. Jebrail. No, I just answered you. Karma. Are you a good karma or are you bad karma? Karma. Hi, just curious. If it's unlawful and cause harm for DV 2020 applications, then it doesn't apply for. Oh, I hate text. I hate text. Then why it doesn't apply for 2021? You sound, when you write in text like that, please don't do that for job applications, or just get out of the habit of doing that, because it makes you sound like a fool. And I'm sure you're not a fool, Karma. Good karma, not bad karma. But anyway, why doesn't it apply for 2021 applicants? Okay, so I've explained this before, but I explained a little bit on this call. It's a matter of whether harm is being done. If the harm that's being done is simply being delayed, that's not really harm. That's an unlawful act that was done by the government. But the DV 2021 applicants cannot claim irreparable harm is being done to them. All they can claim is that they're being delayed, which is the same as every other visa group which was told that they weren't going to get any help from the proclamation either. So that's why I've explained that. You have to be actually harmed in order to have standing to get some help from the judge. Hope that's clear, Karma, and hopefully no more text. When federal judge will provide his decision on other visa category, he's already ruled on the other visa categories. He's not going to help them. They're all just being delayed. They're not sunsetting like DV Lottery 2020 winners. Hi, if my passport expires 2025, can I still apply? Good grief. Of course, Annette, you can still apply. 2025 is a long time from now, 5 years. Some countries only issue visas for 5 years, so they would be immediately useless. As long as you're on the day that you enter the lottery, as long as your passport is valid on that day, even if it runs out the next day, it doesn't matter from the entry point of view. When you process your case, you need at least 6 months beyond the interview, but you can sort that out later. So you're fine with the 2025 passport. Birhanu says, how about my case number 2021 AF46K? Any chance for interviews, assuming it will start in January? Is it too high a number? Okay, so Africa numbers go up to about 88,000. So you're not that high. You've got a reasonable chance, I would say. Akum again. Is there a possibility of exceptions that will come in PP? Crikey, I just answered that 5 minutes ago at the beginning, Akum. I discussed that for you. I answered it for you. Mark Cyrus. So when we get the visa, we're still not able to use it. What if I'm Canadian and I visit US daily for work? You've got to think about this, Mark. I presume you visit the USA and show a work visa, right? The problem is that when you apply for an immigrant visa, the temporary, the non-immigrant visas that you have are normally made invalid, and the very next time you enter the USA, you're supposed to activate your status. So you're in a difficult position, Mark, and I don't know what the answer is. You may want to consult a lawyer about that. But the terms of the ban will probably keep you outside. Once you've decided you're an immigrant and you've got an immigrant visa, the terms of the ban will probably keep you outside of the USA until December 31st. So if that's a problem for work, you need to seriously consider that. Mohammed, regarding the form which we will for Ayla, does this mean we're plaintiffs? No, you only 7 of those people were considered plaintiffs. The rest are part of the class represented by those 7. Oregon says, if you could click the like button 100 times, I would. Thank you. What about DV 2021? Becca, what do you want me to say? Ask a question, I can answer the question. Cobra Star Export. When the visa bulletin of October will be published? Yeah, any moment. I'm surprised it's not been published already. Doesn't mean anything, doesn't cause any problem. It is actually the first of the new fiscal year, and I suspect that's the reason why it's delayed, because they have to, it's a website thing, they have to do a little bit of extra administration on the website, informing the new directory and permissions and all that, and I bet they've screwed that up. I'm in IT, and the government's IT people are not the best. Tolga, again, I wrote in my mail to Charles Cook today asking how many can be helped with the extension. About 1 to 2, I think, mean half of the remaining is possible. He replied, yes, likely. Yeah, he's being, he doesn't know. None of us know. We'll see. Bundix, hello and thanks for everything, sir. You're welcome. Baylor, we know that America is a true democracy. It really is. Other countries have democracy too. Americans don't understand that. They always talk about they're the only country with freedom of speech and everything else. Plenty of countries got freedom of speech, and democracy. But yeah, America's pretty good. It's pretty transparent. DV 2020 extension for Ethiopia. Here, I love your name. Ethiopian nation, nationalities, song, and movies. It's such a catchy name. Anyway, so yeah, we're still waiting to hear about the extension. Ethiopian nation, nationality, song, and movies. Have you ever considered maybe a nickname like Fred? I don't know. Baylor does not issue visas to people with legal rights. Hmm? Does not issue visas to people with legal rights. I don't understand what that means. Baylor, are you saying that it's a legal right to get the visa because you're a winner? If you were saying that, that would be incorrect. Nobody has a legal right granted for a visa from the DV lottery. It's not a right, it's a privilege. Immigration is a privilege, never a right. Sort of attractive young lady with a name I can't pronounce says, "Hello, I'm 21, DV lottery winner." Are you 21 or DV 2021? Probably that. But I had a green card before. Oh, I left USA at the age of 17, 20 years ago. Oh, so you're not 21. I never gave up officially on my permanent resident status. Can this be a problem? No, it's not really a problem. You may even have been able to renew your previous status if you'd have gone for an SB1 return. Jajim, thanks for all the support from Ethiopia. You're welcome. What's the benefit of being a plaintiff in the lawsuit 3.0 of CM? There may be a benefit, there may be no benefit at all. If we get an extension through the other court case, what's called the Gomez court case and the related cases, then lawsuit 3.0 has little to no effect, although it will sort of accelerate people a little bit. So, you know, we have to wait and see. The only advantage is, as we saw in the Gomez cases, named plaintiffs were given a slight preference above non-named plaintiffs. Everybody was helped, but named plaintiffs were helped first. And in that respect, by being on Curtis Morrison's new lawsuit, maybe that will work out that way again. I don't know. We'll see. In less than an hour, there'll be a hearing on that. Nike Kenny, I love your shoes. I have a submission study in Georgia tomorrow, but they didn't let me through the barn. We shouldn't go in the barn. All the documents are in order. Submission study. Didn't let me through the barn. I don't know what you mean by that, Nike. They didn't let you through at the barn. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Zion, is it legal to travel to the US with non-immigrant visa and change the visa status as per DV 2021 winner procedure? It's complicated and difficult to do that because if you enter the USA with an intention to adjust status to a immigrant visa, you can screw the whole thing up. Yeah, it could be considered fraud. So I actually did enter the USA when I knew I was a winner, and I'd already submitted my DS-260. But for me, I was okay because I was on an H-1 visa, which is known as a dual intent visa. And there is a few types of visas that are dual intent, but B1, B2s, that sort of thing, F1s, they're not dual intent, and so you can create a problem for your own case. So in general, I recommend people don't do that unless they've spoken to a lawyer and they really trust the lawyer to get them through once they've entered the USA. And there's time periods you should wait. You should wait 90 days after you enter and all this sort of thing. King Divine, are you related to the king I spoke to yesterday, or are you a different king? Hello, Brent. I contacted the hospital where I did my medical exam, and they had just sent my medical report to the embassy today, and your case still says, yeah, ready. Yeah, you got to be patient. Be patient. Okay. Sir, if you have an asylum pending, can you do the DV 2021? Yes, you can, although quite a few cases that have adjusted status just recently, in recent months, have been refused because they were considered to be out of status. So consular processing for someone in asylum is a safer route. But if you truly can't return to your country of origin, then it's a problem. So speak to a lawyer. That's something where a good lawyer would help you. Although you got to find a good lawyer. Ramiz, hello. In your opinion, what are the chances the winners from Azerbaijan to move to Georgia and get the visa? It's the biggest problem. That will take time to resolve, either by going through the quarantine or whatever. America can't change the rules in the rules that the Azerbaijani government have made, or the Georgian government. And so it'll take time. So only if there's an extension will they be helped. Gene C, 2021, AF27K. I submitted DS20, but not received an email. Just be patient. It doesn't matter whether higher CNs have received an email or not. I've explained before why, but just be patient. There's no need to rush. Everything comes to he who waits, right? I'm doing more Bible quotes now. Old school, do you think they will not extend the ban after December 31st? I don't know. It depends what happens in the election. If Trump loses the election, he'll be totally disinterested in running this country between November and January when he actually leaves the president. He's been very little interested in running the country anyway. So he'll be causing chaos. He'll be talking about, the election was stolen, etc. He'll be stealing from the government in any way he can. He'll be stealing silverware from the drawers in the White House. He'll do all sorts of stupid things between November and January. He might extend the ban, but I don't think it's going to be top on his list of things to do. To be honest, I think selling pardons will be more his style. Dad Jim, how the judge will react for lawsuit 3.0. I don't think he's going to like lawsuit 3.0, to be honest. We'll see. I think he's going to see that as being unnecessary, but we'll see. See what his position is this afternoon. Curtis Morrison just uploaded a video saying his case is also about the extension. Is it just the plaintiff? His case is clearly only for his plaintiffs, right? He's charging people, and he's got named plaintiffs on his case. His case is only trying to do that, but he will benefit, or his plaintiffs will benefit, if an extension is granted because of the other case. And I don't think we'd get into a position where Curtis 3.0 gets an extension and there is no extension for the other plaintiffs or non-plaintiffs on the other case. I don't think we're going to get into that position, but we'll see. Richard, when is DV 2021 receive email for documents? Is it being seven months? How could it possibly be 7 months? How do we get 7 months from June, when you were told you were a winner, to now? I'm pretty good at math, but I don't think it's 7 months. You have to be patient. Just be patient. And the way you're quoting that number there, that may be 55, or it might be 5,500, or 550, or 55,000, or something. It could be 3,055. That doesn't help me at all, quoting the number that way. And if it's 55,000, by the way, you've got months to wait, so calm down. That's not going to be ready until summer of next year. Christina, where should I pick up the form? Which form, Christina? Not sure I understand that. Ethiopia, nation, nationality, song, and movies again. I am Group 4 and called KCC, but all documents seems to be good. No one know when they will send it out. Do you think we can get the benefit if the Gudge extends? Yeah, if there's an extension, you're in a good position, but you need the extension. DV winners from Azerbaijani. Yes, we talked about those. Wow. Asian, Azerbaijan again. Guatemala. Will Guatemala enter in DV 2022? I don't know. We'll have to see the list of 2022. We'll see. It can go both ways. Why don't I connect my channel to Facebook? Says Ethiopia. I thought it was, but I've been really busy with just solving problems recently. So, I'll get round to it sometime. Please, how about the 2021 interview will be in October? There will be no DV 2021 interviews in October. None at all. And not in November either, and probably not in December, which is why I'm telling people January. Cage on the mic. Thank you for helping out with your videos. 2021. However, I submitted documents late August. Okay, just got to be waiting. But no matter when you submitted your documents, your case number is what drives your scheduling date. Okay, Ali says you're from 2020. You've just received your schedule for interview 28th, and the medical take like more than 1 week. What are you going to do it? Right. Ali, you need to speak to the physician and tell them that you need the report by the 29th. Okay. So, and if you can't do that, then you may as well just wait and see whether there's an extension or not. Because if you can't get, if you can't get the medical report, you can't be approved. Okay. After group 2, I've got a reply saying that they're escalating my case for final decision. That's good. You just have to wait and see what they say. Don't forget that with group 2, they could issue a visa like that. But have you provided a new medical? You must have provided a new medical, right? That's important. DG. Hello again, DG. Oh, great. I'm glad to. One day I want to come to Sri Lanka and see. It's a beautiful country, I know. And there are many beautiful countries. I really need to get on the road and travel and see some of my fans in other countries like Sri Lanka. That would be awesome. Arsha Tours. There you go. That sounds like a tour company. Hello, Brett, the incredible and the champ of champions, plus the great of all times. Wow, that's Superman and amazing with all your words and blog. Crikey, what a lot of lovely, lovely words. Thank you there, Arsha. Let's see, SG, is it possible? SG, the DV 3.0 plaintiffs will be kept separately, but they may benefit from the extension if there's an extension granted for for the first suit, the Gomez suit, and all of the related cases. Then it would help the DV 3.0 people, right? I don't think we'll see, as I mentioned before, help for the DV 3.0 people and none for Gomez. I don't think that's going to happen. Is that normal? Yeah, I think it's normal, Cage on the mic. Yeah, it's normal. Francisco, what are the changes for DV 2020 lottery winner? What are the chances? SA24XX. Not a bad number, Francisco. Posibilidades. Hay posibilidades para ti. Can 2021 winners play in the lottery? Yes, they could and they should. Anybody can participate in the lottery. How many? Kagan's asking, how many times did you play the lottery before you won? I won on the second time of entering. Myself and my wife both entered. My wife is from Spain. That's how I was able to enter, because I'm British. I was not eligible to enter, but I was eligible to enter charging to her country. So we both entered 2 years running in DV 2013 and DV 2014. We were selected in 2014, and my wife was selected. I was the derivative. So there you go. Everything you ever wanted to know. Arsha's asking, if your police clearance gets expired before the interview, do you need to obtain a new one? Okay, so many countries set a 3 or 6 month expiry limit on their police certificates, Arsha. But the US government for these interviews accept them up to 1 year police certificates. So you probably don't need to get a new police certificate if it's less than a year when you go for interview. Auckland Embassy has been having DV 2020 interview today, having yours. Great. Ronil, good luck with that. I hope you win. Hope you get it sorted. And Auckland and Sydney, very high rates of approval, so you should be fine. Thanks, Ethiopia. And I've got to come up with a short name for you. I'm going to call you Fred from now on. Ethiopian nation, nationality, song, and movies. I'm just going to call you Fred. It's too long a name. Jebrail, and my case number 15K. Twice my interview was cancelled. Not a plaintiff. Is it possible? Embassy will not make an interview appointment? Yes, it's possible. So you just have to contact the embassy, see what they can do. Just keep pushing. Some people have pushed hard enough that they've made themselves almost a nuisance, and they've been helped. So sometimes it's the squeaky cog that gets the wheel. There's a saying, right? So sometimes you've got to just keep asking, and they'll get annoyed with you for sure, but maybe it will be the difference between getting a green card and not. Rajat is asking, will the extension help remaining Group 3 as well as or only Group 4 and 5? New lawsuit mentions only 4 and 5 and forbidding 3. I don't think that's true. I think there are plaintiffs on Curtis Morrison's case that are also Group 3. I've heard from some in the chat here. But an extension granted for the Gomez case, I hope, but I don't know, would cover all groups, and and not only for the plaintiffs. But until we see the extension, we don't know. Christian Black is saying, "I don't give a damn to someone." Yeah, there's a movie, Gone with the Wind, where famously the actor says, "Frankly, dear, I don't give a damn." It's a classic movie. Rufus, my interview is tomorrow. Hospital is not able to redo the medical, saying that they have not received a letter from the embassy. I mean, beg them, do whatever you can, and turn up for the medical, right? Just push as much as you can. Aces Maharajan, is there a chance, Brett? Yeah, we're creating chances. We're literally creating the chance, right? There was no chance a month ago. Now there's some chance. We'll see. Heba, thank you for your informative videos and great efforts. I'm DB 2021 winner. My question is, in case I have no sponsor in the state, what is the alternative option to get the visa? Okay, so it's a good question. I advise people to get an I-134 from people, which is where an American resident, either a citizen or a full-time resident green card holder, fills out a form, an I-134, which is a non-binding agreement to support you. It's not enforceable, but it's a promise, right? And that's helpful if you can get that. If you can't get that, then you can show your own finances if you've got savings, for example, or you can show, for example, that you have a relative that's able to help you or something like that. There are other ways that you can explain to the CO that you will not become a public charge. So you have to figure out what you can do, right? But most people know someone in America that they perhaps a friend of a friend or someone like that, a family friend, that you can get some sort of help from. And lastly, I would say that there are some embassies that don't worry about public charge so much. They just, based on the mentality of people, I think, living in those countries. For example, in Nepal, for many years, they didn't do anything about public charge other than an invitation letter. And it was partly based on the mentality of the Nepalese, who were considered to be hardworking and resourceful, and they would figure something out and they would work within their community. So many African nations for many years had the host system where there was no formal agreement other than someone is agreeing to host you in the USA. All those things are helpful. Australians are very rarely, people in Sydney Embassy almost never ask for finances because, again, most people down there, they're coming from an affluent, wealthy country, and they're used to traveling, and they'll figure it out, and they'll sleep on someone's couch if they have to. So, but it's not wise to assume that you're just not going to have to deal with that. You need to prepare for it, ideally, if you can, that you could be asked for that question. So Gashawenta, yes, we're still trying to fight for Group 4 in DV 2020, but if you haven't heard from KCC or the embassy yet, it's getting very late, and so you need the extension. 2021 Sepide. My number is low. Documents approved back in December. I live in Canada, but I'm still waiting for an interview. What's the delay for? I don't know. Have you spoken to Montreal embassy? You should contact them and see whether they're doing something. You could also contact KCC and ask them whether they're going to schedule you. My suspicion is that they probably, even though you sent your documents, they probably didn't process them. Sumaya Hassan. Hello, sir. Maybe I was not clear with my question. My family and I have an asylum case in the USA. Can we apply for the lottery and change our status? You can apply for the lottery, yes. But if you try and change your status in the USA from an asylum case, there's some risk, and it's been created recently. Up until a year ago, asylum cases went through lottery adjustments of status pretty easily. But in the last year, and I don't know exactly why, but in the last year, I've seen a lot more refusals. And I think it's, the government have tightened up because under Trump's administration, they're trying to tighten things up. So you would be better off not adjusting status in general unless you're very confident that you're okay to go through, right? So I can't pronounce your name, I'm sorry, but it says you're from Armenia, one of the winners of DV 2020, case number EU 28K. Since 5th September, I sent 3 emails to KCC and 1 letter to the embassy in Yerevan, Armenia. Okay, and they haven't scheduled you, I guess. Just keep pushing, but time is running short. Tolga says, I think the case will help everybody, Simon, not only the named plaintiffs, according to the first order on 4th September. Your opinion? No, that's not true. The Gomez cases, the Gomez cases were specifically designed to help everybody. So, there are various lawsuits, but the Ayla case was designed to help everybody. The Charles Cook case was designed to help everybody. Curtis Morrison and Raphael Arena are trying to help their plaintiffs. And so if they get help, it's because there's help for everybody else. So I don't think it's going to be just for their, I don't think it's going to be expanded beyond there if somehow we get into a weird situation where 3.0 wins and the other cases don't. But my gut feeling at the moment is I'm thinking that we will win on the other cases and get relief by way of an extension. That's the most likely outcome, I think, at the moment. I'm more than 50% convinced that that's going to happen. David Ongaro, hello, Brit. What's the implication of the reimposed public charge by the Supreme Court to future DV winners? Okay, so what that's meant, it really affects people doing adjustment of status. So there's a form called the I-944 for adjustment of status, which is to do with the public charge, and the reimposed public charge requirement has meant that people doing adjustment of status have to file that form. There are also some additional restrictions that have been put in place about what services if you access these services, more services are considered public charge. The main thing is you need to come to America with a plan to survive without needing public assistance. This is not a good place to come for social welfare and that sort of thing. It's not a good place for that. Europe is much more open-handed about that sort of thing, but America is not. So, someone outside of the US doesn't need to worry about this public charge new laws, but public charge has always existed. Some of you probably know of Ruth RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that just recently passed away in the last few days, the Supreme Court justice. Funnily enough, she originally emigrated from Russia, and her parents, funnily enough, were considered to be a public charge risk when they emigrated into America in 1911, I think it was. So it's just, and the reason I'm telling you that story is that it's proof that public charge has always been a part of immigration law into the US, and that has not changed. In Dilemma, welcome back. Is there a chance to get visa if I give a good impression to the US Embassy Consular through my work experience working with the US military in Iraq, although your job doesn't qualify for DV lottery? Unfortunately, there's no additional help for someone who's worked through the US military as far as DV lottery is concerned. So there are some visa types and some help that has helped interpreters and people working with the US military, but it doesn't help you for DV lottery. So you either meet the requirements through education or through work experience. But if you know your work experience that you've done over the last 5 years doesn't meet the requirement and you don't have the education level needed, then you won't be approved, no matter what you did with the US military. It's sad, but that's the reality. Proel, Will non-plaintiffs get an extension in your view? I think so, but we'll see. God bless you, sir. You're welcome, Mohammed. Mama Rock. It's my mama again. Still on AP 5355 and 5 working days remain. Yep, it's going to be a close call, right? Gigi, very French sounding name. Thank you for everything you do for DVD Windows. You're welcome, Gigi. Rufus says, I sent a police report to KCC, but it has expired. Okay, is it less than, if you get a new police report, of course you should get a new one. But if the police report you have is less than a year old, no matter what the expiry date says, then it's still okay to present. You're from Armenia. We're in group 4. Yeah. So you need an extension, Mr. Person from Armenia. Mooncake. Will America ever introduce a points-based system for immigration like Canada and other countries? Possibly. The president of the USA, Trump, wants to do that. But negotiating on immigration changes is horrendously difficult. And Trump obviously thinks everything is easy. It's not easy at all. So, possibly. I don't know. Dajim Addis Ababa is not responding. Yeah, no, they suck. You just, if you can't get through to them, Dajim, you're going to have to wait and hope for the extension. Rachel Raguru, I'm going to do another 5 minutes or so. Grateful. Oh, you're welcome, Rachel. Adina, planning to file for a B visa, as I understand. Okay, so yes, the DS-260 will be there forever. The fact that you declared intention to immigrate will be there forever. Yes, but it's not. It doesn't mean you can't get a B visa or some other types of visas. It just is one more factor. When you go for a non-immigrant visa, the largest single reason that they deny cases, the highest proportion of denials, is where they suspect someone will try and stay and stay in the USA and not return home. So you have to show, with a B visa, you have to show very strong ties to your home. You've got a job, you've got a house, you've got family, you got friends, activities that you do in your home country, things that will make you go home, right? So focus on that. Bit of free advice on something I don't normally talk about there. Coffee and Nan Reborn. Brilliant. So pleased to meet you, Coffee and Nan. Hi Britt, feels good to meet you again. How long does it usually take for case on AP? Because there is no usually. So right now we're in a period of time where everything's happening very quickly. So someone goes for interview, they will see just after their interview, their case will be on either AP or refused, and that will stay there for 2 or 3 days, probably at the moment, while KCC allocates a visa to that case. But that's much different to normal. AP normally can last either days or months. It's very unpredictable. Angie, case number is EU21XXX. Received the date of interview since March, but due to the situation, it was postponed. Okay, Angie, you must contact the embassy, and yes, they will contact people with bigger numbers because that's it's not really number based right now. You must contact the embassy, try and get figured out. Right, you had a scheduled interview. The embassy controls it. Mohammed, what about DV 2020 in India? So India is not able to apply. You're welcome, Francisco. Mama Rock, where should I go? You have to just keep trying, Mama Rock. Samuel Manu. Right. So this is about, Samuel wants to know about, as a married person, can you both register? Yes. So if husband can apply and the wife can apply, the husband lists the wife on his entry and the wife lists the husband on her entry, right? 2 applications. So you get 2 chances of winning in a sense. But it's the same if you were unmarried, you'd have one person who's unmarried, another person who's unmarried, you get one chance each. But in that case, you don't list derivatives because you're single, right? So Yes, but you can definitely do that, each person. And if you have a child who's, let's say, 18 or under 21, that child can be listed on both those applications, husband and wife, and then also can apply for themselves, right? So, that the child sometimes is listed on 3 applications, 3 entries. Purushottam, my daughter, that one lottery, DV 2021, is pregnant with okay. There are, depending on the timing of when the baby is born, there are various ways to add the child to the case. As soon as the baby is born, if that's before interview, you need to let KCC know and add a DS260. If it's after, if it's very shortly before the interview, that might be too late. And then you'll sort it out at the embassy. But whenever the baby is born, the baby will always be added to the case. There's always a way of doing it, including after you've been issued with the visa and before you enter the USA. If the baby's born, then there's a procedure to simply give the baby a green card when they arrive at the airport. Hi, I'm curious, says Zobaka. If the GC will come to the address filled in the DS and I am entering the US in a different state, is there any possibility that the friend who can receive the GC can send it to me with a courier? Absolutely, you can do that. No problem. I've received my ready for schedule email from KCC, but not scheduled for interview yet. I checked online. Your 2021 11,000. Contact KCC, but we're almost out of time. So we're almost out of time. It might be possible to get sorted out. It might not. Fanzo asks, you're a 2021 selectee AF48X, Triple X, submitted the DS260. Maybe they will get to you eventually, Fanzo. Huzik apparently is like, what about the ban? What about the ban? What about the ban? If you repeat the question 17 times, it doesn't mean I'm going to answer it 17 times. What about the travel ban? The travel ban is still in place and has not been blocked. So, unfortunately, countries like Somalia, like Syria, like all the countries blocked on the ban. I can't think of the whole list, but they're all still blocked. Dennis Matuku, what's happening for DV 2020? We're waiting for KCC. We're working on it. We're desperately working on that right now. Oh, Alexander said, I've just got info from KCC. They have scheduled your interview on the 25th, less than 48 hours from now. I've not got a medical. Should I just go with what I got? You've got to try and get your medical if you can. But if you don't have the actual report on the day of your interview, that's okay. But you must get it to them before the end of the month, and preferably before the 28th or 29th. Because I guess you're in Russia or Ukraine or somewhere, but that's the time zone is going to work against you. So don't leave it until the 30th. Okay. All right. I'm just scanning through, just see if there's any quick questions I can answer. Oh God. I've got to answer this one. Ali El Sabam, second one, please. Can I put the country of chargeability where I'm resident and not where I was born? No. It's such a bad, dopey thing to do. The instructions are so clear. Your country of birth is what's important. If you put your country of residence or your country of citizenship or the country of your mother-in-law, you're going to get screwed up. So it's all based on your country of birth. Okay. Gigi, the 134 is valid forever, but you'll want it's better to have a more recent signature and certainly more recent documentation like pay slips and that sort of thing. So get it recently, just before the interview. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to have to call it a day. Now, just in 15 minutes or so, there will be a hearing for the Curtis Morrison 3.0 case. There is a dial-in number for that, which I'll get you in a moment. So you can listen into that if you want. It's only going to be on the Curtis Morrison 3.0 case, and it's the first hearing. So I'm suspecting that there's not going to be very much information on that, to be perfectly honest. So let me get you the number, which I think it will be on. This is going to be the okay. This will be the number. DG, I know you're an often reader, so let me just take your question last. I've filled my DS260 2021 AS 12,000 in case I'm not scheduled. Will this record be a problem for my children to obtain US? Not for your children, no. It's just, it would affect you, but not your children. Okay, guys. So that's the Hull's Linguist. It's at 4:30 Eastern time zone, which is 15 minutes from now. Okay, guys. Husik, I already answered your question. You're Mr. Repeating the question thing. So Husik, you can use your passport as long as it's unexpired on the day you enter the DV lottery entry. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna have to end it there because I want to get ready for this next meeting. Good. Glad you got that, Husik. So yeah, good luck to everybody again. Again, please make sure you're subscribed and make sure all of your friends are subscribed. I appreciate there's been an uptick in my subscriptions. That really helps. And my videos are now at the top of the list when people are searching for DV lottery, etc., which it just helps because I know I'm giving good information. You know I'm giving good information. I'm not bullshitting. And, it's important that we cut down the amount of bullshit there is spoken about the DV lottery, because some of these people, somebody gave me a message earlier about what a lawyer had said, and the lawyer had just said stupid stuff. It wasn't one of our legal team; it was a different lawyer. So even sometimes lawyers, and even sometimes people who sound educated or they sound well-meaning, they say stupid stuff. I'm not always 100% right, but very, very nearly 100% right. Okay. All right, everyone. Goodbye. Cheers now. Bye-bye.